his head. And then he just went home and laid down, and he got a concussion, and he died. After all the crazy shit this guy did, this happened. So in our neighborhood, there was never a shortage of criminals in training. I knew Pat had wanted to go on a larger burglary with us, but I was always hesitant about bringing him. Pat was fine for busting windows out of guitar stores. That was noisy, quick work. Smash the window, jump in, grab a guitar in each hand, and jump out. It didn't take a whole bunch of smarts or sneaky skills to pull that off, but commercial burglary was something entirely different. Some of these buildings were kind of tricky to get into. There were alarms and armed security guards driving around patrolling the perimeter. But I was on a Jones, being a little drug addict and an alcoholic-ish, a little bit. Is that an ish? I can throw an ish on there. You know, when you want to do something, you just got to go and do it. And then you can't not do it. So me was the same for burglaries. It's like I really wanted to have a burglary that night. And I guess I was jonesing for a burglary. And when you're jonesing to do something, the quality of your accomplishment, it doesn't really matter. It's like, yeah, I just got to bring somebody. So you're coming because I really want to rob this store. Anyway, all right, so... Fuck, I wasn't going to not go just because Todd had his girlfriend, so I called Pat. Pat was in before I could say, do you wanna? It was a quick yes. While stupid and dangerous behind the wheel, he was willing to please, that's for sure. So we picked up 2 criminals from the neighborhood, a boy who was 2 years younger than us, who wanted me and Pat to tutor him in having fun, and our friend Mark. Mark was one of us down for anything, although he hadn't been involved in any large moves yet. And I guess I was like a youthful Fagin, almost, a little bit. So these kids weren't much older than me, but I've always been very persuasive. And so I would get these younger kids and teach them how to do crimes. And some of them were really clean-looking, clean-cut kids, and I could send them into all sorts of shit, you know, and they'd go, and people just didn't think they were dangerous, you know? They looked like clean-cut little boys, and I used to tell I've told this story a lot of times. I've got that look. I mean, even at 56 and way overweight, I'm still kind of handsome. But if you imagine me as a young 16-year-old boy, I had just boyish face on me, and I was so believable that the police, and this actually happened a couple of times, they would come up on me in front of a burning building, and I could be standing there with a gas can and matches, and they'd pull up and go, what happened? I go, I just found this. The building's on fire. And they go, thank you, son. Thank you. You know, it's that kind of, I think there are also some serial killers that have the same effect on people. But sorry about that, if anyone's affected. All right, anyway. So I'd get these kids. So here was the deal. I wanted guns. I wanted some guns, and I wanted a new surfboard. The last board I had been thrown off a cliff in hopes of better waves. I only rode it once, so I staked out a large surf and sport about 40 miles from my house. It carried boards, guns, and sportswear. It was one-stop shopping for the late-night bargain hunter. Anyway, I laid out the plan. It was a good setup. The store had a low roof, and there was some ground cover in the back. I'd usually go through a roof vent or chop my way through a sidewall on these jobs, but it all depended on the alarm. I hadn't seen anything too solid in the way of security, and the store was fairly new, so maybe they hadn't yet protected themselves from thieves. I decided to go in through the roof. And I didn't need the axe. I had an axe with me all the time. Why someone might need an axe? Well, although I did later learn that F. Scott Fitzgerald's editor would carry an axe with him all the time. Has anyone ever heard this story? Because I guess he was afraid of elevators. So he carried a small axe with him in an elevator. I guess he was going to chop his way out or whatever. And, so I carried an axe. I actually got pulled over by the police. And all the police like me where I'm at, too. They still like me. And one time I got stopped by the police. I don't really remember. I remember being in the car. I was hammered. And I was in a pair of Speedos. And I had this large axe on the dashboard. And they stopped me. And the cop said, Jack, where are you going? Right? So I'm dressed like that, and I looked at him and said, I'm going home or a couple of other places. So they just took me home. Nowadays, they don't do that. But back then, they used to take you home. All right, so anyway, I gave the guys the standard what to do if the cops come lecture. Run like hell, and if you get caught, keep your mouth shut. We climbed to the roof, and I pulled off a large vent. I kicked my way through the ceiling, hung onto a pipe, and dropped to the floor. So some of these... Not this place, but some of these places have the lift up ceilings, you know what I'm saying? So you can come in through the roof and just drop down, and there's pipes and stuff up there. So that's what I did. I dropped into the sporting goods store through the roof. And I took one of the young boys with me. He might be useful for something. Pat and Mark stayed on the roof. I started handing the store inventory up. Things were going well, so I'm passing shit up through the roof. I was a quick supplier. I knew where to find everything. I wanted surfboard, wetsuits, watches, and guns. Inventory was disappearing with assembly-like precision up and out the hole in the roof. It was beautiful. I loaded out what the cops would later call a 30 or 40 grand haul. Because I just kept stuffing stuff up. Do you know what I mean? Like, I should have just stopped after a couple items and got the shit out of there, but I didn't. I just kept putting shit on the roof. And I remember, anyway, we're going to continue with this. So Pat had been laughing earlier, and earlier, so this was going to be the second time that I silenced him, because he's on the roof and he won't shut up. This is the kind of idiot that just won't quit talking. You know what I mean? It's like, shut up, dude. It's quiet, and you can hear him laugh. He's on the roof laughing, right? So I told him to shut up a couple times. Like, shut up, man. Shut. And anyway, all right, so I loaded out and blah, blah, blah. I said, what the fuck are you doing up there? I called in my quietest voice, and I got no reply. Hey, what the fuck are you doing? Silence. As a matter of fact, I didn't hear any sounds at all. All of a sudden, the noise on the roof had quit. And Pat was still up there. This was the quietest he had ever been in his life. I decided to give it a quick look around. I crept towards the front window of the store, checking for unwelcome visitors, and I came face to face with an armed security guard. And I'm holding a shotgun in my hand that I had just got. So I'm all dressed in black. I got a ski mask on, and I'm holding a shotgun unloaded in my hand, and I'm looking at the window like this, and he's like looking at me, like her. She looked at me, but she's not. But she did. So I was wearing a black suit and a black stocking cap on my head, and holding the new unloaded shotgun in my hand. The armed security guard had probably been practice shooting at a target that just looked just like me at the local range, but now the target was breathing, looming, and holding a weapon. He panicked. Suddenly, his $21.50 an hour pay rate had become extremely unsatisfactory. He did a Barney Fife, fumbled his gun, and ran. And I think I just scared him, I guess. You know, luckily he didn't shoot me. He should have shot me. And he just got scared, you know what I mean, when he saw me, because I'm tall. You know what I mean? And dressed in black with a shotgun. If you're only making 20 an hour, that's not like a great meeting to run into. And I'm standing there like this looking, you know, he panics and he runs. Okay. So I ran back to the hole and called up for help. I needed help getting out. And I had the boy with me, and they had bailed on me. Oh. So Pat and the buddy on the roof, they had seen these cops, and they had split and left me in there. And so I was trapped. I had two options. One, crash through the front window while waving the unloaded gun, or two, get out through the roof. The doors were deadbolted, so I couldn't get out through the doors. I couldn't, you know, they deadbolt the lock. I can't get out of the store. You know, I'm stuck in the store, basically. And so basically, I went for the roof. I figured Barney Fife was probably radioing for backup, so I yelled at the kid to start grabbing racks. I made a quick pile of display stands, anything that could get me up to the pipe so I could pull myself out. I jumped up on the pile and leapt for the pipe that was up there, so I could get my. I got the fucking thing held. I started pulling myself up when I heard the kid crying. Motherfucker! I was gonna leave him, but when I saw his face, I knew when the police yelled "hands up," he was going to answer with "Jack Grisham, Jack Grisham, Jack Grisham." And, grab my fucking legs, grab him. So the kid literally held onto my legs and held onto me, and I pulled us both up. He jumped up off the racks. When he grabbed me, I thought he was going to pull me off the pipe, but I held on, pulled myself and him up. We went back through the hole and up to the roof. He ran and jumped off the minute we got there, but I took quick. There was too much shit on that roof. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. This shit wouldn't have even fit in the car. I was laughing as I watched at least 4 police cars racing on the scene with their lights off. So anyway, yeah, a wonderful story, So that's how it is. I got out of it. One of my guys got arrested. There were 4 of us. One of them actually got pulled down. He got arrested because Pat and him, again, were running for a fence, and Pat cut him off when they were both going to jump the fence. So my buddy had to stop and then take another jump. And when he took the second jump, they pulled him down. And then got him for commercial burglary. And the sad thing is that's the last time he ever spoke to me. I actually called him after he got bailed out. I called him and he said, "Don't call here again," and just hung the phone up. That was it. And anyway, like I said, Pat's now dead. And I'll give you one quick Pat story real fast. Pat used to pretend that he was in the military, and he'd never been in the military. I mean, even the military wouldn't take him in the military. But he used to dress with all the combat gear on, and he'd talk about being in Vietnam and all this stuff. It's like, dude, you're as old as I am, man. Stop it. And he had these stories. So one night, Pat and I were out drinking. He's in full combat gear, and we're in my car, and I had this car that was such a bust. It was a 1969 Lincoln Continental, and it was low and gray, and when the cops saw it, they just pull it over. You know what I mean? I should have just wrote "pull me over." I have weapons in the car, whatever on the side. I have drugs on the side. I hate the police, whatever it is. Because the minute they saw it, they pulled me over. So I'm driving with Pat. Pat's in full combat gear, and I'm driving, and I look, and when you're driving and you're not paying attention, but then I look, and there's the police, and Mike, you got the kind of a little police vibe look a little bit. So I'm in here, and I look out the side window, and there, like with this look looking right at me, and I look, and there's eye contact, so now we've made eye contact, and so I just make a quick right turn to get away from these cops, to get away from them, and Pat starts going, "Fuck it, pull over, let's fight him, let's fight him." I'm like, "Dude, come on, man, just stop it, stop it." And he won't, "Well, you're running, big man, don't run from a big man." Like, he won't stop, right? So I start pulling away through the house, and then there come the police behind me. And I see him, and it's like, I'm popped. It's like, what am I going to do? I'm hammered. There's no license. There's nothing here for the vehicle. It's like, I'm done for. And anyway, so Pat's going, "Pull over, let's handle it, let's handle it." It's like, I've got to pull over now. It's like, they're on me. And so I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to get away from this idiot? Like, I need to distance myself from this guy who has already gone to jail for trying to, running over a couple of cops. And so I stop the car, and I'm not kidding you, like, before the car even stops moving, I jam it and park. The car goes like that. I jam it and park, and I get out and get away from him. And I start walking back to the police, and they get out there going, "Hang on, hang on." I go, "Look, let me tell you what's going on. I saw you, you saw me. I know you saw me, and I know I saw you, and I know it looks really bad, that I turned away from you, but let me tell you why I turned away from you, because my buddy is extremely hammered. He's in the car right now. He's drunk. He just got back from Beirut. There's been a lot of I go, it's been, a very heavy situation. He's just drunk. I just want to get him back to the base. I want to get this over with, blah, blah, blah." And this is all going, bam, 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 bam. I'm firing at this cop. Pat opens the door and gets out, and he's in full combat gear. And he goes, "What the heck's going on back there?" Like, staggering. And I look at the cop. I go, "See, I just and the cop looks at me and goes, "All right. Keep an eye on it, get him back to the base, and handle it." And so I turn around to go back, and Pat goes, "You're letting him go?" "You're letting him go?" He goes, "That's Jack Grisham. He's got warrants. He's a criminal. He's a criminal." He's screaming. And I look back at the cop, and I kind of shrug my shoulders and kind of laugh. He goes, "Go on, get out. Get out." Anyway, so that's the kind of idiot. And I'll just end it with one more quick story so Michael can